Welcome into the CBS 7 Digital News Desk. I'm Celeste Gessner, and joining me today is Richard Sterban of the Oak Ridge Boys. Richard, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, Celeste, thank you for allowing me to do this, and thank you for, promoting the fact that the Oak Ridge Boys are coming your way. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are coming to the area, and you guys are here to perform a major performance. You guys are celebrating 50 years, so why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, you're absolutely correct about that. We, the Oak Ridge Boys, have been together for over 50 years at this point, and we are celebrating our 50th anniversary. And that's quite an accomplishment. It's something that we're proud of. Very few acts can say that they've been together for over 50 years, but we have, as the Oak Ridge Boys, we've been very blessed. We're very fortunate. We've had a great career. And over the last 50 years, so many great things have happened to us. So we're actually celebrating because we have a lot to celebrate. We've also announced that we're doing our farewell tour as well as celebrating 50 years. And what we want to do is we want to go around the country. We want to take some time and go all over the place and say thank you to our fans for allowing us to have such a great career. And not just our fans, they're very special to us, no question. But people like yourself and people in radio that have played our records, we want to thank everyone because we've been very blessed and very fortunate, having the great career that we've been able to have.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing opportunity for you guys, and we're so glad that you're coming here to West Texas to sort of celebrate that major milestone. Now, let's talk about this milestone. How does it feel knowing that you guys have been playing together for over 50 years? Like you said, not a lot of musicians and bands have been able to do that. That's absolutely incredible.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it is a wonderful thing. It's a great accomplishment. And it's something we're very proud of, to say the least. You know, Back in 1972, when I joined the Oak Ridge Boys, I was actually singing with Elvis, believe it or not. And I left Elvis to join the Oak Ridge Boys. And I never dreamed back then in 1972 that 52 years later, I would still be here doing this. So it is accomplishment, something we're very proud of, and so many great things have happened to us. We've been inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, which is a wonderful honor. We've become members of the Grand Ole Opry. We've been able to sing for several presidents of the United States. So many good things have happened to us, and we're very fortunate and we're very thankful. So we are indeed celebrating a great career that we've been able to have.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing to celebrate, and you guys should definitely be proud. Let's put a pin in the Elvis and all the accomplishments. I definitely want to come back and talk about that. But I have to ask this question. Do you still get the same feeling you do when you're out touring? Tell me what it was like when you first started compared to now, 52 years later.
Well, I think the biggest difference between when we first started performing and what we're doing today is the fact we were a lot younger back then. And that does make a difference. But as far as the actual performing, the way we sing, the way we go about doing our shows, really has not changed that much over the years. We still love doing what it is. We live for getting on stage, taking our music live to our fans and to our audiences. That has not changed over the years. And it was that way that when we first walk on stage years ago, and it's still that way today. So I can speak for all the Oak Ridge Boys, and I can tell you we're looking forward to coming your way, and we're going to do our best to make it a great night. We plan to have a great time. So come on out, celebrate together with the Oak Ridge Boys, because I said we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's going to be an awesome time, and it's so nice to hear that feeling has not changed for you guys. I can't even imagine what that feels like, especially after all this time has passed. Now, I want to circle back to talking a little bit about your accomplishments, with the Oak Ridge Boys. You guys have received 4 Academy of Country Music Awards, 2 American Music Awards, 5 Grammys, and so many others. What does that feel like? That's so many awards.
Well, it's really amazing when you look back. I told you, we for well over 50 years now, the four of us have had such a great career. So many great things have happened to us, and it's almost hard to sit back and name all the great things that we've been able to experience. I think coming at the top of that list, certainly, I already mentioned it. Being inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, that is so special. It's beyond words. Sometimes even though it happened in 2015, and now here, what, 9 years later, I still sometimes have trouble describing how special that is. But when you walk into the Country Music Hall of Fame and you see the four faces of the Oak Ridge Boys in bronze, and then you look around the room, you'll see Elvis, you'll see Johnny Cash, you'll see Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers. The list goes on and on and on. For the Oak Ridge Boys to be a part of that group is so special. If you sing country songs for a living, there's not a higher honor than becoming a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame. And just a close second, I already mentioned this earlier, is being inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. We played the Opry just this Saturday night. And even after all these years, it's still a very special place. You walk into that building, you see our name on the wall with all the other great artists, and you feel like family. You feel like you belong, and it's a special thing. And those are two of the best examples that I can think of the great things that have happened to us over the 50 years that we've been able to experience.
Yeah, it's really an impressive career. You guys have really left your mark and are among the legends out there. And you have mentioned his name multiple times, rock legend himself, Elvis Presley. And you actually had the opportunity to sing to him, and I've been waiting to ask you this. What was that like?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. And you're correct. It was a very special experience. Back when I sang with Elvis, he was the biggest star in the world. There was no question about it. His tour was the biggest tour in the music business. And to be a part of it was very, very exciting. It was a special time in my life. I got to know Elvis just a little bit. I have some great memories of the times I spent with Elvis. And now that many years have passed and I'm able to look back on that experience, I'm so thankful that I was able to experience it. I think I happened to be in the right place at the right time. I was singing in a group called J.D. Sumner and the Stamps Quartet. I sang in that group for about 2 years just prior to joining the Oak Ridge Boys. And while I was there, J.D. Sumner got a phone call from Elvis. Elvis was looking to hire a new backup group, and he hired J.D. in the Stamps. So here I was, a young man in my 20s, and I found myself singing on stage with the biggest star in the world. It was so special. That is also hard to find the right words to describe how special it is. But I'm so thankful that I was able to experience that. And let me say this. One thing special happened to me while I was singing with Elvis. Back in 1972, I got a phone call. It was from William Lee Golden of the Oak Ridge Boys. He told me that the bass singer in the Oak Ridge Boys was leaving the group, and the Oak Ridge Boys wanted to know if I would be interested in taking the job. So here I was, apparently on top of the world, singing with the king of rock and roll, but I had to make a decision, like, what do I do? And I really, at the same time, was a big fan of the Oak Ridge Boys. I believed in what they were doing. I felt like the group had a great deal of potential, and I really wanted to be a part of it. So in 1972, I made the decision to leave Elvis and to join the Oak Ridge Boys. And back then, a lot of people questioned that decision. How can you do that? But I really believed in my heart I was doing the right thing. And now, over 50 years later, I can look back and think that was a pretty good decision right there. Leaving Elvis and joining the Oak Ridge Boys. But I'll never regret the time that I was able to spend with Elvis. It was a special time in my life.
Absolutely. I'm blown away by your musical career. And speaking of, when you first started getting into music and singing with Elvis and then joining the Oak Ridge Boys, those are all standout memories for you. When you reflect on those, what specifically sticks out about those moments?
Well, first of all, you're talking about singing with Elvis. I will never, ever forget the very first time that I ever met Elvis, when I was with the Stamps Quartet and we found out we were going to be singing with Elvis, it involved having to rehearse, to go and learn Elvis's music. And I remember the tour started in Minneapolis, and I remember going to Minneapolis, going to the rehearsal hall, and it was the appointed place, and we were there on time, but there was no Elvis, but the TCB band, Elvis's band, they were there. The Sweet Inspirations, the ladies that sang background harmonies to him, they were there. Kathy Westmoreland, the lady, the beautiful soprano voice, she was there, and we hung out with these people for a while, got to know them, and they said, Elvis is normally fashionably late, but this is kind of unusual. Uh, and but he's never usually this late. But to make the long story short, after a while, we heard commotion coming down the hall. The door opened. Elvis walked into the room. And when he walked into the room, I went, wow, my jaw kind of dropped. I was an Elvis fan up to that point in my life. But at that instant, I realized why he was the biggest star in the world. When he walked into that room, he had such magnetism, such charisma. I can't think of just the right word, but he seemed like he filled the room. And it was amazing. And he came over to us, he hugged us all, called us all by our first names, welcomed us into his organization, and it's an experience I will never, ever forget. And then later on, joining the Oak Ridge Boys. I'll never forget the very first time I walked on stage with the Oak Ridge Boys. It was a special moment. I got goosebumps, singing with a group that I had dreamed about for years and years and years, and it finally became a reality. That was so special. That was 52 years ago, and that excitement has not changed over the last 52 years.
I got goosebumps just hearing those stories. That is absolutely incredible. When you first started getting into music, did you ever think you would have such a career like this, from being in the Country Music Hall of Fame, singing with Elvis, and now to performing 50 plus years with the Oak Ridge Boys?
Well, you're correct. To answer your question, no, I never dreamed. When I was singing with the JD and the Stamps, and I decided to leave Elvis and join the Oak Ridge Boys, back in 1972, 52 years ago, I had no idea that 52 years later, I would still be doing this and still enjoy doing this and still looking forward to going out and continue doing it. As I mentioned earlier, we're looking forward to coming your way. I can speak for all four of the Oak Ridge Boys. We're excited about coming your way. We're going to do our best to make it a great night. We plan to have a great time. We're going to celebrate our great career, as I told you earlier, and we're looking forward to it. So we want to encourage people, come on out and celebrate together with the Oak Ridge Boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's circle back to this performance. Tell us when it's happening, tell us how we can get tickets, and what else we should know about it.
Well, I can tell you this. When the Oak Ridge Boys come to town, you're going to hear a lot of the things that you expect to hear. First and foremost, you're going to hear me do Giddy Up, Papa, Papa, Mau Mau. That will definitely happen. We will definitely sing Elvira. That's our signature song. We will sing our first hit ever, Y'all Come Back Saloon. We'll sing one of our most requested songs we've ever had, Thank God for Kids. William Lee Golden does such a great job of doing that. And we are now being produced by Dave Cobb, who's one of the hottest guys here in Nashville. And we, along with all the hits that you expect to hear, we're going to do, some new music produced by Dave Cobb, because it's very meaningful music. So we're excited about that. We're going to throw in a little gospel. Gospel. We've come from a gospel music background. That's very special to us. And so we're going to include some gospel. We love this country that we sing, we live in, and we'll honor our veterans and our troops. But just a great night of good country music, and we're looking forward to bringing it your way. We really are. It's going to be a special time. So come on out and join us. So we'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great. Anything else you might want to add about your upcoming performance or the Oak Ridge Boys in general?
Well, as I said, we're looking forward to coming your way. And let me just touch briefly on one thing. Joe Bonzo, our longtime singer, he's developed over the years. He's developed some health issues, and at the end of the year, at the end of our Christmas tour, he informed us that he's going to have to retire and stay home. He just can't, deal with the road any longer. So we've been able to hire a young kid, a young guy named Ben James, and he's brought a lot of youth to our group. He's brought a wealth of talent, and we're excited about having him as a part of the Oak Ridge Boys. We just finished recording a new album with him that will be out later on this year. But it's going to be exciting. You're still going to see the other three Oak Ridge Boys, the old guys, but we brought a young guy along with us for this trip, and it's going to be a great night. So we're excited about it, and as I said, we plan to have a great time when we come your way.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great performance, and I hope you guys have an amazing turnout. And it's nice to see the tradition living on. Richard, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today.
Well, thank you for doing this. As I said earlier, when you promote the fact that the Oak Ridge Boys are to town, coming your way, you help us. And I can speak for the whole group, and I can tell you we appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much.